and welcome to this week's podcast. My name is Anna Sjösvärd and I am a knitwear designer and content creator, and this is my weekly podcast. And today I'm wearing my Rota Cardigan, which is my most worn knit ever. This is a design this is my second design that I released, and it's kind of like my best-selling pattern, and I have an online course based to knit it if you want to knit it but don't know how to knit, or have a cardigan and you need more guidance. I have a whole online course that you can take and knit this sweater or this cardigan, and yeah, I'm just wearing it a ton right now because it feels like the perfect layering piece right now when it's kind of cold outside. We have had a bit of a cold snap, so we've been down on like -8 degrees Celsius, but it's also good to layer underneath my woolen coat, so it's a nice piece to wear right now. And I'm actually working on the sweater version that I will show you in a bit. So last week's episode was about the knitting survey. The person to most likely be knitting in Harry Potter series is Book Ginny. Tom Bombadil, yes, he feels like a knitting maniac. Yoda. Yeah. That I made last year. So if you want to see that, I have linked it down below. And I also talked a bit about these fibers that I just bought then. And now I have spun some of it because I have been in a spinning mode this week. And this is some of the fiber that I spun up. It's beautiful and I'm very happy with the thickness of it. But yeah, so I have spun some and I actually plied it. It's a 2-ply, and I washed it and now it's dry. So this is what it looks like spun up. So this is the fiber Elvira from the color Elvira from the last shop update from Hönor och Eir. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I'm very I'm pleased with the result, and I think it's really even, but also it feels like a proper woolen spun yarn, like Rauma finull, a bit more loosely plied. But I think it's gonna be a really nice yarn to work with, and I have 600 grams, so I have a lot of it. This will absolutely be enough for a sweater quantity if I decide to do that. Or if I'm gonna make a shawl or something, or maybe, I might do a sweater's quantity in this in 2-ply and also do some 3-ply, because I haven't plied 3-ply thing. But I really love this color, and I'm thinking about maybe knitting this up with a strand of mohair to make it really fluffy and nice, and also make the color a bit more rust, like orange rust, not as much as a red rust, which this is, I think. But it's beautiful. It has red and white and yellow speckles in it, and yeah, it's just a dream to work up. Okay, so I also want to show you my Rota sweater that I'm working on. I have knitted quite a lot on the body, and I'm soon finished with the body. So yeah, this is from last week. This is the last week I think I had knitted like 2 inches and 5 centimeters or something, and now I must have knit like 15 centimeters, but it's cropped, so I'm soon finished with it. But I'm actually gonna try it on after this episode to see how it works with my dress. So yeah, this is my Rota sweater, and I'm in love with this yarn. It's beautiful. It's so soft. It's the Ullcentrum 2-ply, the tweed collection, which is, I think this is the color Espresso. Yeah, and I also have the one called like something Falu Röd. I can't remember, but it's a really nice deep red one. And I also have I've knitted a sweater for my book in the rust color, which might actually be on the cover. So yeah, this is a beautiful knit, and I'm really enjoying that one. It's kind of quick, which I didn't anticipate, because it's 3.5 millimeter needle, so it's quite small gauge, but I think it's gonna be amazing. And I also wanted to show you some swatches that I made. I have knit brioche before, but I haven't knit like a whole project in brioche. So I made a few swatches in unspun, brioche in unspun yarn, and it's beautiful. I'm really loving this yellow, and I really love this was actually a mistake. I actually didn't mean to change the back, like the color, the background color, but I think it really has something, and it's really nice to work unspun in brioche. This is blocked. I don't have an unblocked piece, but yeah, so it has a really it's really structured before you block it, and then you block it and it's flat and just amazing. I'm in love with it. So that's some of the things that I have done the last week. I have knitted on other things as well, but Rota sweater is my main goal right now because it's going out for test knit soon. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep up with a schedule this year, and I'm trying to get ahead of that schedule also. So I have goals, weekly goals for what I want to knit and what I want to finish, and what I want to finish this week. And this week I'm actually going, so on Thursday, which was a couple of days ago when this video goes live, but I'm going to Stockholm this week to have a meeting with my editor and photographer and publisher and everything, so the whole team, and graphic designer as well. So I'm gonna look at some pages, which feels so surreal. It feels very close to having this book finished. Yeah, so I have 4 hours of train knitting, which feels amazing, and I'm gonna bring my Rota sweater and I'm gonna knit and read. So I actually started a new book as well. I have it on my Kindle, so you don't have to see that because it's just a Kindle. But I'm trying to listen to books as often as I can to get reading in, because it's really hard to get reading in when you have a baby and you work as a knitwear designer, when you have to produce and knit most of the time when you're off work. But yeah, so I oftentimes read when I'm knitting. And I have a video on this channel about reading and knitting. I will link it down below if you want to see how I do it. But I know that lots of people can knit like stockinette or simple structure like ribbing or something when reading on a Kindle, or maybe also reading a real book. But for me it's much easier to have a Kindle just propped up in front of me, and then just being able to knit stockinette and read at the same time, which really combines two of my most beloved hobbies. So yeah, I'm reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, I think it's called. The cover is really beautiful, and I had it on my Kindle for a year or something, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So recently I talked to someone on Instagram. I had a DM conversation about books with someone, and they were like, you have to read this book because it's amazing, and the whole series is soon out. So the 3rd book is coming out now. But yeah, and I also have an urge to read Brandon Sanderson, which I also been wanting to do for years. This is something that I have had on my list for years, but I know that his books are huge. They are enormous. And I am a bit afraid of diving into that one because I know that right now I don't have like the most time to read books. So I don't know if I want to listen to it or if I want to read it on my Kindle, you know. But I think I'm gonna read it on my Kindle because I think that's the best experience with fantasy books, like reading it physically. Then I can like reading it like a real book. While listening to things, I usually reread things when I listen to things. So I reread the Lord of the Rings series right now on audiobook with Andy Serkis as a narrator, and it's beautiful. So yeah, that's a bit of my book plans for now. But yeah, so we're gonna dive into, we're 15 minutes in and we're gonna dive into the topic of today's video, which is how I wrote a book while having a baby. I'm actually gonna grab my knitting here because I don't have anything to show you. I can knit at the same time. So I have quite recently, over the last couple of years, I've written a knitting book. So if you don't know that, it's coming out in September in Swedish, and then hopefully the translation for English is coming soon after. But I haven't heard anything, so you know, don't take my word for it. But I'm hoping, of course, that it will come out in English as well. And I'm soon ready to share the title and the theme of the book, and also maybe the cover. Depends on when it's finished. But yeah, so that is the whole premise. And I also had a baby. So my daughter is now 10 months old. Okay, so I've been home on partial maternity leave for the last year, almost a year, 10 months. And around in January, me and my husband switched. So now he's home full time and I'm at work full time. So that's our situation right now. But I don't think I'm gonna be able to knit. So I'm gonna do like a timeline because it all happened kind of at the same time. So I was actually pregnant when meeting with the book publisher at the first time, but it was very early in my first pregnancy. And I actually, I had like the meeting, and then between like they being interested in the book and me getting the actual contract of the book, I had a miscarriage. So it was missed abortion, I think it was called. So I had like the miscarriage in in week 11 or 12, and then I got the book deal, and we had like, because I was working away out of town, like not at home in my hometown. So it was a few months between the miscarriage and when we actually got pregnant again. So I got the book deal in July 2023, and then we were pregnant again in like late July or early August in 2023. So so that's when it all started at the same time. And then I was pregnant and working on the book, and I didn't have a rough pregnancy at all. I was maybe a bit tired in like the middle of the day after lunch, but I'm usually tired at that time anyway. But I was falling asleep actually in the middle of the day for a few weeks, and then it was better. I had more energy and I could, work as usual. So I actually had like a really productive fall and winter through my first, second and third trimester. And in the third trimester I actually launched my first online course in how to sew a skirt. And that after that, I was going to Fårfesten, which is an annual sheep and wool festival in kind of close where I live. So it's maybe an hour and a half drive away, which I'm going to in a couple of weeks again. But yeah, so I was really pregnant then, and I was really I was actually having contractions then, but I didn't know that they were contractions because it was like, you know, my belly got really tense and tired, and I walked a lot and I stood up whole day. So it was looking back, it wasn't the best thing to do while 8 months pregnant, but it worked fine, and I didn't have like any pains or anything, so it was fine. But yeah, so during my whole pregnancy, I worked on the book, and I didn't really have any problems with working alongside being pregnant. And then Hilma came early. So she was due April 18th, and she came March 27th. So, and that was a whole shebang. I also made a video about my pregnancy, like more in depth about my pregnancy and my labor and delivery and everything. So I will link that below if you want to see that. But yeah, so she basically, my water broke on the Saturday, and she was born on like Wednesday evening. So it was a long time. They didn't let us go home because she wasn't fixated. Do you say that? I think you say that. So yeah, that's why. But then she was born, and like month 1, 2, 3, she was sleeping a lot because all newborns sleep a lot. So we had a really cozy time. It was just starting to be spring outside, and we had like a snow weather, but then, you know, it turned quickly to spring, and it was like buds everywhere, and she was really comfortable in a shawl. So we have her still sometimes in the shawl. But yeah, so that was a really cozy time. It was also really easy for me to work because I didn't have any like pressure on myself to get back to work right away. But I was like, it was maybe a week, maybe a few days at home, and then I was like, she's sleeping a lot. I might actually write some on my computer. So I did some emails because I had like some deadlines that I would have if she come at her due date or like somewhere around her due date, I would have had enough of time to finish everything because I had a plan. But as she came almost 4 weeks early, I had like some loose ends to tie up and to finish off. So I had a few deadlines which I got extended time for, which was really nice. I worked with Lene at the time, and I think I asked for a week, and they were like, here's a month, finish in your time, which was really lovely. So yeah, that was great. But yeah, so month 1 to until like the summer, Robin went back to work after his 10 days, because here in Sweden the partner gets 10 days of paid leave when your baby comes. So we had 10 days, and then yeah, he went back to work, and I was home with Eden and Hilma, and it was really cozy. It was really really nice, and I just had her in a shawl, or she was in a baby nest, or you know, she having her tummy time or anything, and I could knit, and when she was sleeping I could write on the computer. It was really easy to get going with work, because that was something that I really wanted to do. And I really want to preface the rest of this video with to just let you know that I really enjoy my work, and I really, if I wanted to, I could have just said that I'm gonna be off until Christmas and then I will come back. So but I didn't do that because I didn't want to do that, and I think my mental health and my brain space was so much better because I had like projects to do when she was sleeping, or when Robin was home and had her. It was really good for me to have projects to do. So yeah, but yeah, until the summer I worked when she was sleeping, or she was having her tummy time, or when I could. And it worked really well. And then during the summer, Robin was home for his summer vacations, so we could really share the, he could have her in the shawl and go for a walk with Eden, or, we could just help each other out, which was really nice. And it was really a really nice summer where we just went to family members, and had fika. And I knit all the time when I could. And then autumn came, and it was a bit more difficult to find time because she was awake more. So, and I want to socialize with her more. So I worked during her naps, which was like 3 a day at this point. And it was a really long naps usually. And Robin is he works afternoon because he works as a music teacher. He works mostly afternoons and evenings. So I could actually, after I fed, because I was nursing, so I could feed Hilma and then go to a cafe in the area and work for a few hours, just to have like my space, to be able to write in the book, and then come home and nurse again. So it was really nice also to be able to do that. And I'm so happy to have Robin, who is so comfortable in just me going away. He has always been very good in that way, that he just wants me to have my freedom as well, even if I nursed for 9 months maybe. So yeah, it was really nice to be able to walk away from home and to work for a few hours and get very, I was very focused at that time, so it felt really nice. And I also wanted to talk about sleep deprivation, because I have nursed. It's like recently that she stopped nursing during the night, and she's now 10 months, so maybe at 9 months she stopped nursing during the night. It was mostly because it was more like a routine that I nursed her before I went to bed at around 11, and then she slept through the night. But now she's eating so much food during the day, or then she was eating so much food during the day, and she had like a dinner, like a full dinner, and then she just slept through the night. So it wasn't actually that hard to stop nursing for us during the night, which I'm very happy about, because now I can sleep through the night. So usually I sleep from like 10:30 at night until 6 maybe, which is a lot for me. So now I'm actually don't feel like I'm sleep deprived anymore, but it was a long time when I didn't sleep that much or Robin didn't sleep that much, because we always shared the nights. It's also a very weird thing, because in the first month I didn't sleep. I nursed her every 3 hours, which is a lot. If you have she wasn't premature, but she was like on the border of being premature, and she was really tiny, so she weighed 2.3 kilos. So I had to nurse her every 3 hours, and then we had to feed her like breast milk with a cup afterwards. So we chose to do this by me nursing and then me going back to sleep, and Robin giving her the extra breast milk in a cup, and then he changed her and put her to sleep. So it was a cycle. But yeah, so it was a long time when I didn't get enough sleep at all, but I also wasn't that tired, which I think is the hormones when you had a child. I think the hormones go bananas, and I haven't felt, of course I had days when I was like very tired, like super tired, but I haven't been affected by the sleep deprivation that much, I would say. I have been able to write and knit and like do maths all along. So I don't know. I don't know what that is, but I'm really happy that it turned out that way, and I don't think it has to be the same way. I don't think it automatically will be the same way if we have another child, because then you have the added energy output on the the first child, of course, and then you have a second child. So yeah, that was just a bit of a rant about sleep deprivation. In September, I had my big deadline for all the knitted items. So I had to finish my knitted items for the first week of September. So I had a few weeks of just not any work on the computer, just work on these knitted garments, and I just knit all the time. And I had her in the shawl and knit, and I had her on tummy time and knit, and whenever Robin had her, I knit, just to be able to finish everything, which I did in time. And then we had a great photo shoot over 2 weekends, where she also was with us. So Robin and Hilma and my mother actually was with us during the photo shoot, and I nursed her in between when she needed to. And I was actually worked with one of my best friends as a photographer, so it was really easy for me to just, we have to pause now. I have to go nurse, and then we'll go back, just to be able. It was really nice just to be comfortable in saying, I have to pause now. We can't do any more photos right now because I have to nurse. So yeah, that was really a big thing, I think, which made it much easier for me. But then after the photo shoot, it mostly has been editing and getting the texts done, and writing the foreword and writing the information text about everything. So it has been a lot, but not, I have been able to make. I might have put in like 10 hours every week. I've been working with an amazing editor. Her name is Annika, and she is really great. She's really, warm and nice and just gentle, but also really, really great at her work. So I'm really happy to have her as an editor. And I have this group of women in my book team, which all are very nice and very, gentle and inspiring and helpful. After the photo shoot, the whole of the fall, I had like two half days a week where I could go to a cafe and work, but Robin was home before lunch. So from 7 until 11 I was at a cafe working, which was really nice. It was really good for my productivity, and I really got going with writing and editing and calculating on things that I had to do, making charts and everything. So I did that during the fall, and Ilma was sleeping 2 naps around October. So from October and until now, she has 2 naps a day. So she has one in the early morning, like 9 o'clock, and then one at maybe 1 or half 2. So I was usually working during those, and she also falls asleep at around 6 in the evening for the night. So there's a lot of hours after 6. So yeah, that was my working schedule from October until January, and now I have around 7 or 8, sometimes 9 hours in a day to work, and I actually have my office away from home, which feels weird, but it also means that my sewing machine can be on my desk, which feels nice. So yeah, today I'm working from home, as you can see, but that is because Robin and Hilma is away for like a music play thing with other people. So I'm here and filming in this space because I think this is a much nicer one than my office, because it's not great lighting in my office. But yeah, so that is how it's been, and it's due. We have had like the graphic designer do test pages, so we will look at them on Thursday, and then and from now until it's totally finished, it's most edits and a bit of updates, and I have some things that I want to add, and I have some things that I want to change and everything. But you know, the whole book is taking form, which feels amazing. And Hilma is now 10 months old, so she's turning 1 in the end of March. And then I think the whole book will be, maybe we will be in the last edits, maybe, but you know, it will be kind of finished. And then when the release date is in September, she will be 1.5 years old. Wild. And I'm really, as I said, I'm really hoping that it will be an English translation as well. So I'm hoping that will be something that I can tell you soon. I actually did some things before Hilma came, just to prep. I made like all the folders for everything, for every pattern. I made a folder, and in that folder I made a page for pattern, and I made a grading template, and I also tried to have like most of my test knits done. Before Hilma came, I had tried to grade everything before she came. I don't think I made... Yeah, I think it was mostly done when she came. And I also tried to have my most intricate and my most complicated knit done before she came. But I wasn't actually finished with that one. It's a cable sweater. But it was really fine working that after she came. So I didn't feel like a head mush or something. Yeah, I did that, and then I also tried to just start every project and to have the start of every project finished before she came, so I can just, you know, knit stockinette or knit increases or decreases, and just following the pattern that I already established. So just to make it easier for myself, I tried to do that, which really worked out quite well. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.
Bye bye!
Bye bye! Det är som säger.